Today's video is presented in partnership with Hampson Auctions, one of the UK's leading classic, performance and supercar auction houses. Their next sale takes place on the 8th of March at the magnificent Bolesworth Castle in Cheshire. For your complimentary valuation for sale and entry into one of their auctions, please use the contact details below for a prompt response. We launched our Rich Reviews channel with a black Porsche 993S. And that Porsche 993S was a 2-time Concours winning car, and we owned that car for 12 years. But we sold that car to move the channel forward, and I bought my first Ferrari, a red 458 Spider. We put 12,500 miles on that red 458 Spider and owned it for 3.5 years, drove it all over Europe, but then again we sold it to move the channel forward. And we bought our beautiful yellow Lotus Emira, which pretty much only had delivery miles on it. We owned that Lotus Emira for just over a year, and I drove it all around Wales, had great events in that car, had fantastic experiences, but again, recently sold that Lotus Emira to move the channel forward. And I've bought another yellow car for the channel, and it's another Ferrari. Welcome to Rich Reviews' next channel car, triple yellow Ferrari 458 Spider. Another 458. So you must be thinking, viewers, what the hell's going on? Why has he bought another 458? Well, there's an interesting story there. Just listen to that bloody engine. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, sorry, I digress. I was sat with a good friend of mine having a coffee, and I was asked what would get me into a Ferrari now, and this was going back around October, November time last year, and I had no intention to change the Lotus yet. My intention was to wait until springtime and then look and see what's on the market and then make my final choice. I had a few cars I was thinking about, for example, a McLaren 600 LT or a McLaren 675 LT, or there's always the option, of course, that I love, of a Porsche GT3, which would be probably the 991.1 GT3. But my friend asked me what would get me back into a Ferrari right now. And I said, well, they never come up for sale, but a Ferrari, preferably 458 Spider, but a Ferrari 458 in Giallo Triplo Strato. Triple yellow. Triple yellow 458s are like rocking horse poo. They never happen. Triple layer Giallo Triplo Strato 458 Spiders almost never ever happen to come up for sale. When I checked at that coffee shop, one had just come up for sale, this car. It wasn't very well advertised. The pictures weren't great because the car had just been taken to the dealership to get some quick photos taken, and then it was off to have its annual service. I happened to see it just after it was advertised, and it wasn't advertised as triple yellow, it was just advertised as yellow, and it wasn't advertised with all the options because the dealership had only just received the car and it was on its way to have its service at a main Ferrari dealership. I jumped on that very quickly and I put a deposit down and made sure the car was removed from being marketed. And then what ensued was 2.5 months of negotiations to make the deal happen. And make it happen, I did, viewers. I couldn't be happier. This car drives absolutely phenomenally. My previous 458 Spider was a 2015 September build, so the last build slot for the legendary 458s. And I didn't think it was possible to get another 458 that would drive as good as that car. It drove exceptionally well. However, I think that this car is sharper. And this is a September build 2012 458 Spider. And this is 14 years old. 458s went into production 2010 to 2015. There was a 5-year slot. And of course, as you know, this is the last naturally aspirated Ferrari supercar that will ever exist. And this is the last naturally aspirated Ferrari mid-engine supercar that was designed by Pininfarina. The colour was the main motivator to buying this car. Triple layer in a 458 is just unheard of, as I've said. But also the specification of this car. My 2015 458 Spider was spec'd incredibly high. I never thought I'd ever see another car optioned as highly as that car. But this car has pretty much every option ticked, viewers. It's got carbon canards, carbon rear diffuser, carbon B-pillar, all the carbon inside the car. Obviously carbon race seats, goes without saying, which are exceptional of course. But not only that, viewers, but it has sports exhaust on the back as well, meaning it has the black anodized sports tips. But also the interior is leather and Alcantara, and it's got this beautiful light grey, almost blue looking interior Alcantara. It's absolutely stunning. So you've got all the carbon inside and all the Alcantara, including an Alcantara roof lining. Now another bonus as well for the specification of this car is that it has special Grigio alloys. Also alongside those wheels, it's got titanium lug nuts, lug bolts I should say. In effect, bolts to hold the wheels on. So this car is exceptionally highly optioned. Not going to go into great detail about the rest of the options on this car, that's for another video. We'll give you a good walk round of the full detail of this car and the full spec of this car pretty soon in the future on the channel. I had my previous 458 Spider for 3.5 years, put 12,500 miles on that car. Will I keep this car longer? Will I keep it shorter? I don't know. It could be a keeper. Another Giallo Triplo Strato 458 Spider is highly unlikely to come along again. If you've enjoyed this video, please think about giving the video a like. It is very important for our channel, and of course, if you're interested in receiving our content in the future and you like how we deliver our content, please think about subscribing, especially if you love the sound of a 458 on full chat.